realized I've never talked about the first time I was ever incarcerated or found myself in a jail cell. This is a story time about that. 2005, I was 15. About a year prior, I had already jumped off the porch, so to speak, whatever you want to call it. Chose I wanted to start living a certain way. You know, that was the year I really started, going after females, got some pussy, thought I was the shit. Started smoking, drinking, skipping school, was already getting into a lot of fights. I had already been expelled at that time, 1 year, not realizing that following year I would be held back, meaning that I would actually be 17 in the ninth grade eventually. Before, I had to go to alternative schools, life skills and such, homeschooling. I tried all that. I've been to multiple high schools around here. Warren schools, Newton Falls schools, Highland schools, and life skills and homeschooling. So that year was the year I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2 and PTSD. I was given medications and whatnot. There's no excuse for what happened, but I'm just telling you I had a lot of mood swings and some trauma and shit that I was trying to deal with, but I really wasn't. My brother passed away that same year, 2005. He was 6 years old, and I blame a lot of this on that. Like I said, there's no excuses, but I really just quit caring. And I just started pretty much doing what I wanted. I was already given verbal house arrest without an ankle bracelet and probation, but I would just lock my door, put the music real low, and climb out my window. At the time we lived in the East River Gardens. It's these little projects that got in Newton Falls. Pretty much it's the people who don't got a lot of money out there. Because if you know anything about this area, Newton Falls isn't like a crime-ridden city. It's like a small country town with a little over 1,200, 1,500 people. At least back then it was. That's like the poor side of town, And I'm not trying to clown nobody that lives over there. My family is like the fucking shameless family. So shout out to y'all, because I know living out there is rough because you get looked at different by people whose family got money in Newton Falls. Well, at that time, my mom, like I said in many videos and on that last podcast I did, I mentioned how from 1999 to 2005 we lived out there. Then I came back to Warren, linked up with all my friends from elementary school, and my life took a completely different path. That had not took place yet. So my mom didn't know what to do. My pops was trying, but he had his own demons and addictions and things that he was struggling with. So my mom and my grandma would team up on me, and they would also call my Uncle Rich to come down and say some shit, to me. They lived a couple courts over. Well, pretty much at this time, I wouldn't go to school. They kept calling, saying that I'd come in and leave. One time I was even chased by the principal. It was me, Nick, Jimmy, and Dan, and we left school and they chased us, and we ran through the woods and got away. It might have been within that same few-day period. My mom got a call from the truancy officer, so she freaked out on me. She's telling me to get dressed and this and that. I wouldn't go. They had just found some cigarettes in my room. One thing led to another, and I yelled at my mom, and her and my grandma had plastic spatulas, and they was chasing me around. I actually ended up jumping up on the top bunk because we had bunk beds, me and my little brother, and they were swinging them, and one of them caught me in the ankle. It's not funny, but looking back on it, imagine my mom and my grandma chasing me with plastic spatulas. Shit was nuts. And I end up getting down, flipping out. I start breaking shit. This is where it's messed up, and I wish I never did this, because my mom does not deserve a lot of the things that I put her through. I actually ended up shoving my mom, and I knew the couch was behind her. Still not all right. I pushed her. She fell down. My grandma smacked the fuck out of me from the side. I'm trying to get out the house and shit, but they were holding on to me. I didn't know they had already called my uncle and the cops. He showed up right before they did. They're all trying to wrestle me, keep me in the house. I don't know that the cops are on their way. They end up coming, they grab me, they cuff me up. I kind of knew this day would come, but it was crazy they wouldn't even let me put my shoes on. So I'm trying to walk out. I'm telling him, let me get my shoes. He got me cuffed up. He says, no, you don't need those where you're going. They end up taking me there in my socks. I guess maybe he thought that was part of the scared straight process. I don't know, because he could have reached down and grabbed him. This Newton Falls cop did this shit to me. So, you know, with the shoes part, I did this shit to myself with the story, obviously. We're going. I'm scared. I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect. We get there. When we walk in, they take, not the front right here. This is the front of the building. Around the back is the main part of the jail. And they take me in there and make me get straight in the shower. There's two, you know, JJC officers, correctional officers, standing there talking. They're actually talking about a recent unaliving that just took place in Warren. Because this is in Warren. Like I just said, that's a suburb to the city that I live in now. So they're talking about some true crime shit that just took place, and I'm overhearing them. And I say something to them, and they both tell me to shut up. I wasn't being spoken to, and I realized right there, okay, yeah, this place is gonna be like this. People are gonna be assholes, whatever. They take me out. They put me in this room with this older kid. He was 17, and he was waiting to go to DYS. You know, that's juvenile prison. And the kid, his name was Darius. And he ends up trying to teach me the ropes and shit. You know, he was cool, but he was kind of like a bully to me. But he never put his hands on me, but he liked to joke, clown, and horseplay a lot. And he was like kind of aggressive, you know, and he knew he was on his way to jail. Now, what's crazy is when we first come out, when you first come out your room, they would leave your shoes outside your cell. I didn't have none. So when I came out, a couple kids are giggling and laughing, saying, look, this dumb motherfucker left his shoes at home. Mind you, my bunkie ain't saying shit. He's just letting this shit ride. So I just pretty much say, yeah, the cops wouldn't grab him, this and that. Everybody started laughing. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I didn't know how to handle it because I got all these older kids with mustaches. In my mind, I'm like, man, I'm going to end up having to crash out in this bitch and probably end up staying here longer or something. Like, I didn't know how to act at the time. But I also knew that they were just joking. I've always heard stories about people bidding off people. You know, in prison, they call it being a wreck piece, whatever. Well, what was cool at the process of all this in my young mind you, I'm tiny. Like, I'm a little guy. I barely hit puberty. I hear a familiar voice. My cousin Stevie was a couple cells down. And he literally said, hey, y'all, that's my cousin. Chill the fuck out. And I look up. He got long-ass, scraggly hair, like he ain't had a haircut. That boy been in there for, at that time, probably 60 days to 90 days. I don't know. But, you know, he come walking out just looking rough because, you know, that's how jail is. But I immediately, as quiet as it got, I knew that he had respect in there because everybody stopped. And he kind of looked at me and nodded his head. We acknowledged each other. We were like 3 people down from each other. At this point, the COs are starting to tell everybody to be quiet. You're really not supposed to talk. And there's these lines that you got to walk on. So I walked to chow in my socks. I was grateful to have my cousin in there. So shout out to him for that, you know. Much love for sure on that. Him and then also Corey Blackwell was in there with me too. And I ended up meeting his brother later on. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure both of them dudes ended up being unalive. So that's kind of fucked up. I know one did for sure. I heard the other brother did too. So condolences to their family, but this is part of the story time. You know, I met Corey. He lived like a couple rooms down from me. He had like a long bid. I want to say he might have been going to DYS. I don't know. He also had a lot of respect in there. So you got me, my bunkie Darius, Corey, and my cousin Stevie. We're all within a couple cells. And yeah, man, that was it. I stayed from Friday to Monday. It was my first jail experience. I went to court Monday. My mom and my grandma was there telling them they think that I needed to just see what jail was like. They let me out, extended my probation, told me the next time I'll be staying for a long time. I think it was like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days is how it worked. You know, the paper I signed pretty much saying I will stay for those times.